New pose every
Always ready.
week. He's ready. What
Well,
episode are we even up to?
I
We
think this is
check that before
seven.
we start. What are we
Keep
looking at?
forgetting to bloody do our fun topics, but we're just too busy.
Busy men. This is episode 7, technically. So there you go. So we're not only have we got to episode 3, we've just fucking the train just keeps rolling.
We're unstoppable. We're gonna make 100 by the end of the year, I reckon.
That would be pretty bloody cool. I wonder if we'll even have time for that. I feel like we've got a lot of time on our hands, and then we go to record these, and we don't have any time at all.
I reckon there'll be a week where we could possibly bust out 3.
Maybe we just try and line up annual leave, and we just do an episode every day,
That would actually be good, just to get to 100.
just to get to 100. I'll do it. When GTA 6 comes out next year as well, I'll take 2 weeks off just for that.
I like it. What are we
But
starting with? Basketball.
we'll just do our sport wrap, I reckon.
I
And
like it.
we had game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. We both called that the Thunder would make it through, and actually we called everyone. We knew
Next would win
Knicks
at home.
weren't gonna get beat at home. Indiana destroyed Cleveland. I think that might have already been done, but then Thunder got it done in 7. Our got it done in 6 call would have been right if we didn't have a Jordan Straw, the legacy game or something. I don't think that guy had scored over 5 points for the last like 15 games he played, and then he pops up with 15 for them to win. So that was outrageous.
Absolutely.
Now you would have worked. Did you catch any of game 1 today between
Nah,
the Thunder and
I
Wolves?
I was a busy man, so I didn't get to capture anything, sadly. But it
Lucky,
went
lucky I
to my
work.
expectations.
Did it?
Yeah.
The final result. It
Yeah, I
was.
always felt like this result would be a big game one.
It's always hard. Like I feel like usually away teams try and just get a feel out, like what are OKC doing, or what are
Yeah.
the Lakers doing, or what are Golden State doing, and then they try and make adjustments and try and steal game 2. I feel like that's how it typically goes. Um, being able to watch it at work, luckily, it was just like a tale of two halves. Like they actually, instead of trying to field the game out, Minnesota came out and just went whack. And then second half, OKC made adjustments and just took over. I reckon at one stage it was like 84-90 in favour of OKC, and from that point on, it was 24-4. Like they just annihilated them down the stretch in the last quarter. My Twitter
That's
was going off. Everyone was thinking that SGA was a free throw merchant again today.
OKC's looking. Obviously, they're the favourites to win it all now, but didn't Minnesota make it to the Western Conference last year?
They did. They did. So they've gone back again, obviously, with the change from Cat to Julius Randle, who started off like a house on fire. I'm pretty sure he scored like 20, 22 points in the first half.
Yeah.
But they kept him in check in the second half. They just doubled and got the ball out of his hands, and I think he only scored 6 points in the second half or something. So
You
good
see
adjustments
Minnesota
there.
winning a game?
OKC shot the ball pretty well. Like they shot 50% from the field. They probably don't usually shoot that well. Jalen Williams still went 7 of 18. Shea shot the fucking air out of the ball. He was 10 for 27. But it was the role players that nailed all their shots, where I don't think there could be a game 3 or a game 4 where they obviously don't shoot that well.
Yeah, I get you.
And I feel like in Minnesota, like a game 3, they'll just come out buzzsaw and try and win that game. But yeah, that's all I can really see. I feel like OKC match up too well on the guard position.
It would be nice to see Minnesota clutch up at some stage and maybe win 1 or 2, but I personally don't see them getting past OKC. I feel like they've just got too many good players, good shooters, compared to old Minnesota.
Yeah, well, even like Jaden McDaniels, he hit his 2 first baskets in the first minute and then had like 2 more shots for the whole game. Like they just shut it off instantly.
Yeah,
Jason, like from Hoops Tonight podcast that I listened to, he said that the advantage for the Wolves would be at the power forward with Randall. and he sort of proved that early. But yeah, I mean, besides him early cooking Chet after they made the adjustments, they really didn't have anything going on offense. So it's going to be interesting to see what Minnesota try and do in game 2 to try and
Well,
sway it in there.
OKC scored 27 points in the paint to Minnesota's 10.
Yeah, the other thing that was crazy is Minnesota did not score a single fast break point.
That's
So when
pretty
you've got
bad.
guys like Edwards, McDaniels, DiVincenzo, Alexander Walker that usually run out because of like how much guard speed OKC have, they just didn't even get a chance.
They went. Minnesota went 15 from 51 from the 3-point. OKC went 11 from 21. So you can see they're playing more.
Yeah, so the whole second half, the adjustment they made, I should be able to help more on this because I watched more of the game. At first, they sort of were happy rotating around and they were getting shooters open. This was Minnesota getting shooters open. In the second half, KC just packed the paint and just dared them to shoot. I had a look. Nasreed's last 10 games, he's averaged like 40% from the field, 45% from the field, shot 1 of 11. And they just let him go. And they just let him shoot. DiVincenzo, 3 for 12. DiVincenzo had more shots than Anthony Edwards. Like, they just packed the paint, let them take threes, and then just kept preying on them to miss.
Trigger happy. Yeah, I
Very
think
trigger
just,
happy.
like you said, that game 1 feel for. Oh, a bit more classier than me. You've got the red wine, and I've just got the vanilla Coke.
Vanilla Coke. I thought it was this is how bad my brain's going. I thought that was Great Northern.
Friday only, mate. Friday only. 2 to go.
Oh, you
2 to go.
Oh, you've changed. So mid of week, you're not doing it.
No, not midweek. Maybe
That's
when
good.
the State of Origin's on next week, I'll have a couple.
Have a
Here's
couple.
the
I might
legs
fly up for it.
There's a space here, mate.
Absolutely. I got to organise that soon. Maybe if I get a tax return for once this year, that might be nice.
I'll hook you up with a good guy. Tomorrow, Knicks and Pacers.
Yeah. What are your previews on that?
Well, it's at Madison Square, so it's going to be buzzing. They haven't had this since 2000.
Yeah, it's going to be fucking nuts. If I have a look back, just try and fill the air a little bit with what you think we'll do early. What are we looking at here? So I've got a feeling Indiana have won both game 1s.
Possibly have.
Have I gone back too far there? Maybe. I think I have. I've got a feeling that they might have won both game 1s. So it's actually super important that the Knicks come out. Pacers smacked the shit out of the Bucks early by a lot too. Just punched him in the mouth. What else happened? Smacked them in game 4. And smacked the shit out of the Cavs in game 1. So they have won both game 1s by a pretty comprehensive margin. So the Knicks are going to have to try and absorb that first blow.
That's it.
Especially with home court advantage. Like you'd think out of the Cavs, the Bucks, that'd be the best way to go about it. What's cracking?
Small interruption here. Well, Wally's got me on mute and he talks to Grenold. 2000 was the last time the Knicks actually made it to the conference finals, and it just so happened to be against Reggie Miller and the Pacers. Well, Knicks lost that 2-0, and the thing was Pacers took the first 2, which is going to be... I'm hoping it's not like that. I've been calling it all year that the bloody Pacers and OKC will be in the final, because as a Knicks man I was worried against Boston, and we pulled off the miracle. I was nervous for game 6, but they done it.
I'll be back.
Easy. But we've got to this stage. We've got great players that are going to run the court. The thing I've said about the Pacers this whole time is how clean they've been playing. They're hard, dirty, they're quick. That's a team you want to be backing. But the thing is, if we have OG playing the way he was, he had a tight hamstring problem, but hopefully that's up to scratch. Bronson, If he don't play good, that's where we struggle. It's 100%. You can see it. Bridges, this man's. I'm not saying he's inconsistent, but he has quite first halves, and he needs to continue that because not have quite first starts and continue that. He needs to do what he done last game and just play hard from the get go. Not saying he doesn't, but scoring points, he does all the other things, but scoring seems to be his problem. Last game was great. He dropped 22, and I reckon everyone gives this man a bit of stiff sometimes, I reckon, but Towns, I reckon that was honestly the best game I've seen him play in an X uniform. That's going to be huge against Miles Turner, I believe. If he can play that game and not get injured, hopefully. That's been a problem. This whole playoffs is pretty much injuries, which has helped them get through. Oh, he's back. Welcome. Oh, I can't hear you. He's still...
Me button's jammed. Sorry, I did click it, just didn't unmute.
I was a big rant about the Pacers and about that in 2000. That was our last conference finals, and they got the best of us. But I was going through our whole player list, pretty much. The Knicks, saying who's played their best and all that. But the way I see us beating them, my Knicks, is they've been lucky, the Pacers, to be honest with you. Every team they've played's been injured.
Yeah, it kind of happened to them last season as well, and they just took full advantage instead of like getting into these fucking big long series.
Yeah,
which is like good.
OG Anunoby had a bit of a hamstring injury. That's why they were a bit nervous in playing out the game, but I'm pretty sure they rested him enough that he's feeling good. I know we've got players with injuries, but they're nothing major.
I mean, everyone's a little bit banged up at this stage, aren't they? Like, I mean, Tyrese took forever to recover from his hamstring from last year as well.
I said Towns, that was probably his best ever game in the Knicks jersey. That game 6.
Yeah, he was crazy good. I mean, you can tell he wants it. He's made more Eastern Conference Finals appearances than Joel Embiid.
Yeah, and obviously the whole starting 5 was elite, but my big underdog player in the Knicks is my man Deuce McBride.
Yep.
He's massive.
If he can come off the bench and provide some spark, I mean, that's the thing with Indiana. Like, they've got TJ McConnell and those sort of guys. So if he starts providing off the bench, his defense has been pretty awesome so far.
Yeah.
I've been impressed with him. Even Campaign sort of provided some decent minutes so far this playoffs as well. I'm liking what the Knicks are doing and how they're playing as well. It's like even Brunson's barely foul grifting and he's playing defense.
Yeah.
He's actually had pretty good defensive efforts at stages. I think he knows that he needs to lift a little bit more.
If you watch that Boston game, they were passing the ball like they were the Spurs until they got the correct shot. They weren't rushing. If you look back at game 5, which was actually pretty shit to watch, they were rushing all their shots, taking stupid shots. They just slowed it down. Well, were relaxed. And they were able to get easy buckets.
It's kind of funny. It just actually looked like they didn't want to be there. Looked like they like we said last time. Looked like they got to half time and then they're like, oh, whatever, we don't care. So they'll be ready. They'll be amped. I think Madison Square Garden provides a bit of a better crowd than what Milwaukee and what the Cleveland crowd would have been in game 1. So
you're going to the Madison Square and
did you see the average ticket prices?
Yeah, it's outrageous. Nuts. I reckon if the Knicks win game 1, someone's going to get shot in the streets of New York the way they party.
What a spastic. How's the dude that wore the Indiana top out in the middle of New York? Surely he had a death wish just written on the back.
He got invited by, what's his name, Tyrese, to game 3, but...
I did see that.
You don't wear the opposition jersey in the town.
Yeah. Not with a city like New York. That's like... Oh, that's like going to some of those college games, college NFL
Yeah.
games with a different side on. Fuck that. Like, do you want to die?
I reckon this series at least has one overtime in it.
Yeah, I think it's close. What's weird about this is, again, I was listening to Jason from Hoops tonight. They play two of their games in October and November, like really early in the season.
Mm.
So, and Knicks blew them out, and then the Pacers sort of blew them out. So it's kind of like you don't really get enough of a gauge.
No,
Um,
it's just going to be on game day. That's where you're going to find out who's up for it and who's not.
It'd just be interesting to see the different game plans, like who's guarding who, and like what matchups are they going to take advantage of. Like, does Mitchell Robertson get enough play time because Indiana don't really have any big centers, so could they take advantage of that down low? But then on the flip side, like the way that Indiana have been jump shooting, are the Knicks going to struggle to guard them out there with Brunson, and are they going
Yeah,
to try and switch Cat out there? Like, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait.
it's going to be an exciting day. But I'm saying Knicks. Oh, I want to say sweep, but I'm going to say five.
Really? So after you called Indiana as a dark horse, you're now going the Knicks in five. Are you? Is that the bias binoculars on?
Well, as you were gone and left me, I said the reason why I've gone back to my Knicks because being an honest fan, I didn't see them getting past Boston,
Yeah, fair enough.
and then they've actually doubted me wrong. So I'm still, if I predict that Pacers get through, I'm just a fucking genius. But I'm going for my own team. I reckon I have to.
Yeah, yeah, and it's probably fair enough too. I don't know. I actually have a feeling this goes seven. The game one's the biggest one. The Pacers have annihilated everyone in game one so far. So if the Knicks can absorb that and win, I think they'll win between 1 and 10.
Had a longer rest too.
Longer rest, couple of days. Yeah, I reckon this will be a 7 game series. I
I
think
like
the Knicks, just with home court advantage, should get the job done. But yeah, this is going to be a crazy series, I feel.
absolutely.
What do you want to do, NRL or AFL?
Let's go AFL. I reckon.
Weird round. Very bizarre round.
Yeah,
Both of us are not happy, would you say the least?
yeah, not proud, but we will start with the TO Stadium Darwin clash of the Suns and the Hawks. I watched the first half of this game, and the Suns, like we said, dominant, still undefeated up in the NT.
Yeah, it's the freest tip, even though the games are getting closer. Like Bulldogs are at 10 points, I think, and then same with Hawks are 8. Even though they're getting closer, they just look in control up in Darwin, the Suns. I feel like they want to move their team there. They can't fucking lose.
Well, they're finally clicking, and my biggest thing for the Gold Coast is I just want to see them make finals. That's which I
Man,
think.
and even just the improvement of some of their players, like second year with under Damien Hardwick, like is Ben Long an All Australian?
Yeah, he
Like
almost
he,
could be. It'll be interesting to see how that all falls into place this year.
because he's
But
been nuts as a half forward, and then I love Took Miller. I reckon he's gun too.
well, it's even good for him because I had him before the game with an interview how he was in the darkest stage of his footy career because they were just getting absolutely blown out the park.
Yeah, I saw
But
some crazy stat. It was something like he'd only won a handful of games in his first 40, but his next 40 has been like even or something like that. Like he's finally winning consistent games of footy, and starting to see how a good team trains and puts it together on the park. So
absolutely, he's
happy
got
for
a
him.
good, well, under a good coach now.
Mm,
Like that one, 2 flags playing and 3 flags coaching. So
yeah,
they just keep improving. Next week, who they got? The Saints. You'd expect them to absolutely demolish them, but the way Saints have been, they possibly might rock up.
Saints have been up and down as well. Like they look like the best defensive team. They look like the 2009-10 Saints again, and then the next week But I mean, the only thing with the Saints is even was it might have been last year or the year before when West Coast were even worse. They were in front for most of that game until the last quarter against the Saints. So I
Yeah.
think the Saints just travelled to WA very poorly.
Well, that's the thing. They're playing at Marvel Stadium next week,
Mm.
so
Which
that's
I think can suit Gold Coast's sort of run game. So that'll be interesting to see the two different play styles. I feel like Gold
yeah.
Coast are pretty aggressive, but Saints are just trying to shut it down. So that'll be interesting.
All right. This next game, I have no idea what happens because I was at my rodeo, so I had no reception or no recognition of anything of knowing because I was fuck-eyed.
I'll give you two players, and that pretty much sums up the game. Isaac Heaney and Chad Warner.
All right, on to Saturday's game.
That's pretty much it. We could literally sum it up there. Heaney
Carlton,
had
yeah,
38 with 2 goals, 5.
Jesus
Incredible.
Christ.
Chad Warner 30 and 2. Just the second half, to just do a quick summary. Carlton looked pretty much in control for 3 quarters of that game, but the last quarter, those two just took over, and yeah, it was all the Chad Warner and Isaac Heaney show that game.
Well, it's interesting that the two teams that played on Thursday are now third and fourth, and the two that played on Friday are now 11th and 12th.
Yeah, there was some weird voodoo stuff that went on there. I saw that too.
But on to Saturday, you had the Pies and the Croms, 10-point game. Apologies, everyone. I was still in the bush. I still had no reception. I actually didn't know the Knicks were winning or anything because I couldn't upload a single thing. Then I got the halftime score saying 61-37. I was like, holy smokes. And I actually had to message someone to say, did the Knicks win? And they said, yeah, by almost 40. I was like, holy shit. But back to this. What happened to the Croms?
Same shit, different day, really. I think the last 7 games with between these two have been pretty much the exact same game every single time. Um, the Crows were close, but never close enough. Like I know everyone's been talking about, oh, Rankin kicked 2 out in the fall, and what if you kick those? Do they win? Okay,
You
the
can always say
score
that.
suggests that, but I don't know. I just felt like Collingwood were never losing. I just felt like it was, when the little brother tries to take on the big brother and the big brother just
Yeah.
sticks the arm out. That's what it felt like.
Well, you're playing at the MCG, so you're fighting in the big brother's bedroom.
Dawson was unbelievable, and the Crows came in with a good game plan. But I don't know, like the Pies just look like they're just a mature team and just know how to get it done. They just didn't, even though it was 10 points, it just didn't sort of necessarily feel like Crows were actually going to overtake them and win,
Yeah.
to be honest. But
The game
I mean,
I
the
wish I
Crows,
was able to watch.
yeah, Crows still look like they're going to be a top 6 side. They do look very well coached. It's just that Collingwood are fucking that good at the moment.
Playing quick footy. Alright, here we go. Ken Hinkley's power outage against the Pussycats. Holy shit, 76 points, 39-115.
I had a colleague of mine go to this game, and it was just a second half. Like it was 12 goals to 2 in the second half. The game was actually relatively close, and then it sort of turned into just a running power game, and Geelong a bit more mature. Max Holmes and Ollie Dempsey and
Smith with 30 again.
Smith with another 30.
Myers with 27, and he's usually just the small forward.
They're just tougher and more mature, and Jeremy Cameron always towers up Port, and he kicks 7. Again, he was unbelievable. I saw a pretty cool video. Power fan on the sideline trying to tell him he can't kick, and he's 50 out on the boundary, and he slotted it straight through the middle, and he just turned around, just stared at him. It was fucking awesome.
With Port Adelaide playing so badly, do you reckon this could be a almost problem to the fact that some of their players like Butters and stuff could potentially leave?
All right, I'll flip it. You're in Butter's shoes. What actually makes you want to stay?
I don't think I'd want to stay, honestly.
At all?
No, because it's Port's doing the same thing that been doing for the past 10 plus years. Yes, they have those years where they make it to the prelim, but then they just get blown out in games like the one they just did. I don't think I watched a thing where it was, I didn't watch all of it, but it was Kane Corn saying, which club don't you want to be in the next 5 years? And I'd stick Port Adelaide there. Because the reason I reckon they're at a rebuilding stage is because if you go back a year or two, they were probably the most stacked side, or one of the most stacked sides for the past 5 seasons, and they couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, was it the COVID year that I had them as the favourites to win the whole lot? And they had a home final against the Bulldogs and then lost by fucking 50 points.
They got blown out from the start.
2021, I reckon that was. Was that when did Melbourne win? 2021?
I think so.
Yeah, because we watched it at Bowen's house.
Yeah, because I was on night shift when the prelim happened, and I was in the back of the LV, and I was like, oh shit, boys, footy's on. And we turned it on, and we just turned it straight back off.
Yeah.
It was like, the first quarter was fucking horrendous.
Yeah, it was so bad. And since then, a lot of those mature players have obviously either changed clubs or left completely.
And that's when Ollie Wines, even though some people say he doesn't deserve it, was a Brownlow medalist.
And I mean, he's still proving that he is class, like 28 touches and 6 tackles. Like, he's still a gun.
I think it's
Ollie Wines is getting older. Burton's getting a little bit older. They obviously lost Big Dixon. I mean, Alir looks just about cooked.
Hornet's done his hammy.
Hornet's done his hamstring. Willie Rioli's not going to be around forever. Radic Alir was just to try and patch up. Like, yeah, I'm going back to Victoria if I'm old mate. Butters.
Go to a club that's dominant, that has a good system where it's been consistent for years, and that's Geelong.
Yeah, he could probably do that, to be honest, and just dominate. The other part of that is I think Essendon are potentially trying to go pretty hard on him as well, so that'll be interesting.
Well, that's the thing with Essendon. He looks at them and they're just a young side, so that could be massive.
And then you're hoping that we're going like this.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Are we in the same position as Port anyway? A young side that just needs to come up. So yeah, a tough position to be for Port.
The Giants 61 to Freo 95. I can't tell with these teams. GWS is supposed to be this powerhouse and it's supposed to be the top 4, and then they just lose the games they should win and win the games they shouldn't.
Do you know why they lost?
Nah,
Freo are undefeated as Wally Yallop.
Is that it? When they get their indigenous name?
Hoodoo against them. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they try and work so hard to get their offensive game going. The Giants, this is that they just leave themselves so exposed. It's not like Fremantle have been a high-scoring side this year and they had 30 shots on goal.
Well, look at, by the third quarter, Giants are 4 goals 10.
It was disgusting.
What's this, the women's footy?
Yeah, like disgusting.
That's not even being rude, that's legit how it is.
And even if you look at the the little graph, Freo kicked the first 3 goals of the quarter and put it to bed, and it wasn't until then that sort of the Giants kicked a couple of goals late. So yeah, the game was cooked. GWS are just leaving themselves too exposed. Shai Bolton probably had his best game as a docker. He's been playing more on ball the past couple of weeks.
Both kicked 3.
Yeah, and Frederick hasn't done that for a while. It almost felt like because Bolton's been moved into the midfield, Frederick's got a bit more space down there. Because they're two quick small forwards trying to do the same thing. So that was good to watch. I think now this hurts me a little bit because Pat Voss was on the Essendon list and we had a chance to keep him and play him, and we decided to let him go, even though he won our VFL Best and Fairest the year that he left. But he's added a little bit to Freo's team. He's a good target up forward, and he's been a second ruck, and he's like super energetic. He's pretty good. I like Pat Voss, so it was good to see him have a good game.
One of my favourite Freo players is Isaiah Dudley.
He's been good. Like, adds a lot.
Little chubby fella, but...
Little keg.
He does his job and he can play some footy.
So they got a couple of good young kids like Dudley. Neil Erasmus finally was allowed to play a full game and he looked good. Uh, and then you've got, what's his name? He had a really good second half, this kid. Where are you? Murphy Reed is the name I
Oh,
was
yeah.
looking for. He is just such a good kick inside 50. And yeah, he passed the eye test because he's had the third most ever goal assists in his first 10 games of footy behind
Yeah.
Errol Goulden, which is pretty good company.
They've got a lot of young fellas coming up, which is a big positive for them.
Mm, absolutely. So I like Frio's list. I hope they sort of string together a few games. I actually thought they'd be in the top four this year, so hopefully they can lift.
Well, you might want to finish your glass of red with this next game. 27 to 36 to your Bombers. Yet again, I missed this one.
Men against boys. Um, fuck, man. Like, I've been watching the Bulldogs games, and you sort of know that they're pretty classy the way that they're moving the footy. Fuck, man. Watching them, like really watching them, because obviously they're beating your own side. The thing that summed up this game, I watched a passage of play where Essendon worked it from the midfield to the half forward line with handball, and it was like handball, fumble, handball, fumble, handball, absorb the tackle, fumble, and it was just so like it was really shit to watch. Bulldogs turned
Almost.
the ball over at half back and just went bang, 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 while being grabbed, while being tackled, and being brought to ground. They just nailed their hands. They were clean and tight, got the ball from inside to out, and they just went off. And I was like, well, that's the game. We're not clean, and they are.
Apart from the basic errors, would you reckon it's almost a mental thing because so many injuries have hit them? It's got to the point where they've given up.
It did kind of look like that. So I reckon it was 9 minutes to go in the first quarter, and I sent Dad a message and I said, our defense is holding up here. It's actually like a really close game of footy, and it was like 2-1 after literally 11 minutes or something like that. Bont got the first one, and then they instantly just kind of went 2 minutes goal, 2 minutes goal, and we were 3 goals down. And then all of a sudden, Leith Vandermeer sort of kicked a pretty good goal, and then went back and remonstrated with Redmond, and Redmond pushed him back, and then Vandermeer flopped, and so they got two goals for one.
Yeah.
So after being 2-1 after 12 minutes, all of a sudden by the 17-minute mark or 18-minute mark, it was like 26-2, and the game was done. Like it just felt done, and
Deflated them.
just deflated. We didn't look up for the fight at all, and yeah, I think you're right. I think it felt like, yeah, no, we don't have the players to come back from this, and we just sort of moped through the rest of the game.
Yeah.
I was pretty disappointed as a fan watching. I don't think Rach spoke to me for 3 quarters. She thought I'd go off.
Yeah, I don't know much to say because I obviously didn't get to watch it, but I think that's almost because they were. I'm not saying they're doing great, but they were just doing enough to be in that 8th to 10th area.
Well, this is how mid we are.
They're still 10th, but
We have beaten everyone below us. We have lost to the top 8 sides by an average of 50 points.
yeah, that
So
stings.
we're just not good enough, clearly, which is okay. But that's what it is.
But it's still something I wouldn't put your head down on being a fan or a player. Like I know as a player, you still got to perform because you're an AFL player. But if you're being hit by injury after injury after injury, it's going to affect your side no matter what.
We're currently going through that at a local level. I reckon we've
Same
got
here.
two of us on the sideline suspended. We've got about 6 or 7 missing in the A grade due to injury, and about 11 missing in the B grade due to injury.
Yeah,
And it's just a knock-on effect.
it's happened to us. We've probably got about 5 injuries of like starting A grade players, and even one had to retire, and we are sitting dead last when we were supposed to be the team that was like one of the hot favourites to take it out. We're
Yeah.
rock bottom at the moment, but we've all said we're not worried because it's early still.
And the cavalry will arrive. It's not like it's not like you just. I don't know. Do you have any season-ending injuries?
Nah, we don't have no season ending. Yeah, there was that one fella that had to pull the pin, but that was just because constant injury.
Yep.
I'm no superstar player, but you do your part. But if someone listens to this, my footy club, my bad. You bring in players that aren't A-grade quality, and you're trying to bring in a new game plan where you're trying to play short footy, but they're kicking the footy not short. When they try to kick it short, the ball's hanging too high, which is costly. There's just not enough skill to be at our level to play our game plan, so we're getting exposed very easy. As bad as it is, yes, we've got the depth, but we don't have the depth to keep the team at the level that we want to be.
Yeah, it's kind of the same with us. Like, you want to be a quick running, high pressure team that lays a lot of tackles and keeps the ball in the forward half, and just don't have the cavalry to do so. And then the ball gets into our back line and don't have the foot skills to transition it at the moment. And so that's just what can hurt with a lot of injuries.
We know how you're feeling.
I know, right? We should move on before I cry.
Dance through these next three. The Kangas. I'm pretty sure I said they'd get the win.
Yeah, I think you called it. I think you definitely called it.
They had to beat West Coast or Richmond. I think they've got West Coast this week or next. No, the week after. I think they've got them. Or somewhere down the line they've got them. Yeah, 2 weeks from now. Or 3. Sorry, they've got them. But mate, it was about time.
Yeah. It's funny, they've gone, what was it, 8 points, 3 points, draw, and now they've won by 4 points. So on this route, they're going to win by 10 next week. But they did deserve to finally get a bit of a reward for effort. I feel like they've been pretty good lately, to be honest.
It's about time they done it. You had Big Pinky in the back, Toby Pink, that sealed it with his big mark.
Took a clutch mark, wasn't it? He knows how to take a clutch mark. Do you remember? It was when we were under 18s as well with Souths, and Glenelg won the flag that year because he took the mark 50 out, kicked it after the siren, and it somehow bounced from the goal square in after the siren.
No one touched it.
That was him.
Yeah, I've watched that. You'd be shitting yourself as a defender because it bounced through everyone.
That was fucked. I when he got drafted, I couldn't believe that was him, like, at all. It was shocking to me.
You build the man a statue.
Absolutely. Put him on Glenelg. Put him on Jetty Road.
My disappointing lines. The hangover's finally hit.
Yeah, it does seem like that.
There was no, how do I say it? No mongrel, no want.
Lethal Lee used to say it. He said the grand final hangover doesn't hit at round 1, 2, 3. It hits when you're in the middle of the grind, and that's what it looks like for the Lions at the moment.
That's it. Round 10 is when you start picking where people will finish, and at this point, I reckon we're almost going to finish 6th or 7th. Performances like this, there was no want in the team. It was pretty easy. Now we've got to play Hawks at the MCG. Yes. We started off great. Happened last year. We'd start the game on fire. In our last halves, we would let teams come back from 50, 40, 30. It's happening again. They're letting teams creep back in, and I don't know how it's going to look later in.
I don't know. They just don't. It's weird. They don't put the foot to the throat for a team that's won the flag. You'd think they just know how to do it, and like, their second halves the past few weeks have been pretty average.
Yeah, so we've got the Hawks this week at the G on a Saturday. I've got no footy, so I'll be all couched up, ready.
Scarf on. Yep.
Definitely no scarf on. Maybe the premiership hat.
Is it hot at the moment up there?
No, it is getting colder.
Yep.
The winter, but throughout the day it's pretty hot.
Yep.
But no, give it to Melbourne. They started off pretty rough, and they're starting to play good footy. I do like Melbourne a bit.
Yeah, I don't mind the D's either. I mean, you probably have a soft spot for like your Petrarcas and Gawns and
Yeah,
definitely not Stephen May, but
or Pickett.
it's kind of with all the shit that they go through, you kind of like want them to do well because they just get so much shit hung on them. But at the same time, you just don't want it to be against your team, which unfortunately
Yeah,
for you it
that's it.
was.
Especially at the Gabba.
Actually, a guy that I want to shout out because he obviously got thrown pillar to post back in the day, Jake Milksham.
Auction.
Kicked 4 and did a job on your big man down back.
Andrews.
On Harris Andrews, yeah, he was very good, and like Melbourne miss him dearly when he does not play.
Yeah.
And they actually look like a competent forward line with him in the side. So like, and Kazai Pickett's been pretty good this year. So yeah, no, I hope that Melbourne sort of get back to being competitive. I'm just glad that we beat them early when they were struggling.
Yeah, because now we've drawed with number 17 and lost to number 14, and now we got to play bloody number 4 this week. So
It might sharpen them up, to be honest.
yeah,
Like it could be they just play down to the level because they mentally think they've already won. So
I'm sure
yeah, you just
Fags
never
will
know.
give a bit of a cough and spray.
Exactly.
This last game, we've already kind of gone over Saints, but West Coast finally done it.
Yep. And look good too. Probably
I
just have
reckon
to mention how horrible it was about the passing of another Selwood twin. Um,
Adam, was it? Adam?
yeah, Adam, because
Yeah,
Troy sadly passed
Troy's, yeah.
earlier.
Yes, that
But
was a big.
they looked
I
up for
was
the fight.
actually shocked to see because when it first popped up, I thought it was a old one from his brother. Until
I was shocked too. I had to almost pull over.
I saw the jersey, and I was. Everyone obviously experiences suicide in their life, and
Which is horrible to even think about and say, but it
yeah,
happens
which
now
is
too regularly.
crazy. But for a family to lose 2 people in what 4 months, yeah, it's not good. I think it almost would have, well, not just stopping talking on that, but something like that would have fired up West Coast because you're not just playing for a past player. It's massive.
It's that more to the more than just a game mentality at that point, and it's
Yeah,
hard to overcome as an away side flying across the country. Like they just looked up for the fight. West Coast, they were really solid and played for a previous player. They were awesome.
but yes,
I
it
think
was
that.
good from West Coast.
Did you
But
get to watch
before,
any of it?
no, I was watching the rugby league.
I'll sum this up pretty quickly. Brady Hugh or Howe, been a halfbacker for the past couple of years for the Eagles. They've moved him on ball, and he's just been fucking awesome since he's moved there.
Yeah,
So he was impressive for the Eagles. I traded in Rowan Marshall to my fantasy side and captained him, and he got 158. So I was pretty fucking happy with that, to be honest, as well. That's about
that
the
is
only
good.
thing I could really take away from this game, watching it with a keen eye.
Yeah, I got not really much to say. I guess the only outcome is this is speak up if you're struggling.
Yep.
And I'm not laughing at it. A lot of people know I've had to deal with this type of stuff, but
Very close to home for yourself.
yeah, especially I just keep thinking of the Selwood family. It's
Mate, it's
just
brutal.
the parents and the 2 brothers. Yeah, it's not a good situation. But going into the NRL, have you noticed the Broncos brought out a solid black jersey for mental
No.
health?
Yeah, okay. Like in support of the Black Dog.
Yeah, I think it's a black dog jersey.
Yep.
It's actually a smart idea. I think the only way I think all of us can, is by keep bringing it up because
Absolutely. And just break down the wall and the stigma of it. And if you're struggling, you're struggling. And I think we're at a good point now where no one's judging it, which is good.
I think
Um,
it stopped to be judged because we sadly had to lose too many people.
yeah. And like you just said, it is crazy that you can sit there and go, oh, everyone's been affected, which we just
But
shouldn't have to say.
yeah, that's the sad thing is, yeah, look at those.
There it
I'm not
is.
even a
That looks
Broncos
good.
supporter, but I'm thinking of getting one just for the cause of it.
Just for the cause, I'd be happy to get one as well. I think it's good that they're doing that and bringing it out, especially like, let's be real, the AFL and the NRL are those like real tough guys sports. There's a lot of
Yeah,
stigma around just being
supposed.
just get hit and get back up. So it's pretty cool that they're doing that.
And they make. I'm not saying they just make jerseys of everything. I think, yeah, they do the cancers, all that. Yeah, let's start bringing up mental health. I reckon.
Absolutely. And have the chat. Don't
But
wait till it's too
going on
late.
to the NRL, the double header on Friday, the
Mm.
Eels. Like I said, these Knights need to show a bit of fight. Got absolutely thrashed, 28-6. I don't know what's going on with these Knights, but they've got the side for it. They lost Bradman Best. I'm not sure what the injury was, but he didn't play, that's for sure. But thing is, yeah, you see, 6 points. Maybe the Knights scored that first one. Nah, they scored in the 75th minute. So they just got a little constellation try, pretty much.
Yeah, and I don't know, they actually started the season off very well.
Yeah, they were playing
They've
really
just
well.
they've just gone backwards, and the fact that the Eels had only won 2 games and looked like if you're an alien that landed on the planet and you watch the Eels play, you'd think they were a top four side the way how shit the Knights were.
Well, that's it. When this was Lomax's first game back, and he got what, one, two tries. So he got his origin spot, which is good
Yep, yep.
on his behalf. But yeah, the Eels, I think they're finally starting to feel that rhythm. Yes, they're only coming 16th, but I reckon they've had a few new recruits. They've obviously had the Fox, they've had Lomax. They also had Moses that was injured at the beginning of the year, so they finally got their half. But apart from that, Dylan Brown, like again, he's not worth that money. But that's another problem. The Knights are gonna. It's not Dylan Brown's problem, but it's
Some
gonna
of
be
those people can just be in the right place at the right time. They got to fill their salary cap, don't they? So you might as
yeah,
well take advantage when they're a shit team. And that's the other thing. Some blokes can just look better in a good side,
yeah,
and then they look really shit in a shit side. Like you don't get your peaks until you're like in a shit side, and they still rise above the crop. If you know what I
yeah.
mean.
Right, the next game. This
Your
game,
boys.
I actually obviously missed it because I was at the rodeo and I was wearing my vintage Bulldogs jersey, and I was at this little rodeo. Well, it was actually a big rodeo, but I was at. They called it the street party, and I'm just walking. I was like, "Oh, Ruby, I'm just going to go get another drink." And as I'm walking, this woman comes out of nowhere and she goes, "Oh, I fucking hate you. Fuck you and your team." I was like, "What? What happened?" I was like, "Did we win?" And she was like, "Yeah, just." And I was like, "Oh." She ended up having a good yarn with me, but we should have lost this game again. We gave the Roosters a little comfy lead, and then we were able to tie it. But we've got the dog in us, and we're just on fire at the moment.
I just think it's just a natural belief that they've built at this stage. Like you probably don't win that game if it's round 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, often not. All the players kick out Burton, Sexton, Cherry. Everyone's stepping up, and it's just good. You're getting these young guys brought in for their first game. We've got Max King that's now gone to Origin, so we've got an Origin player.
Do you know what's kind of crazy as well? Is like you've got that such good mix of mature age that the young guys are just sort of following suit,
Yeah,
and they're just getting good standards set, and they look good. The dogs, like even though they were behind for a majority of that game, they just looked ready to pounce at any time. And as soon as the door just creaked open, they just went whack.
yeah. And with the Roosters, the big highlight I'd say for them is I actually cannot say this dude's last name, but Mark Nawana Kwana, I don't know. Did you see his try?
No, I did not. Oh
So
my god, yes, I did. Sorry, the little hop step.
yeah, he hops, kicks it, runs around back in, pulls it before it goes over the try line and scores it. That's one of the greatest tries I've ever seen.
Two parts to that. You know it's fucking unbelievable when one, Rach was sitting there asking me to replay it because it was that good of a try, and then Dan Gorrinch, he reposted it on his socials as well. But that was brilliantly called by the commentary team. That's one of the. Would you, for me personally, apart from like your intercept full runs and like, I mean, we'll get to Xavier Coates, but apart from like your Israel Folau and those hanger type tries, do you say this is one of the best solo tries you've ever seen?
Yeah, for a winger, I reckon it's one of the best.
To have the
Especially,
class and the nous on the spot to do the hop step, for me, is what took the cake. I'm like, how do you even
I
think
think
of
the
that
hop
while you're getting
step,
hit?
yeah, the hop step is probably the most impressive.
Yep.
There's probably another two tries. I forget his first name, but I think it was Need for the Titans. The ball gets kicked. It was against your Sharkies, I think, and the ball bounces, and it like he throws his hand out and just hooks in his hand. Like it's the most cleanest pickup you'll ever see. I reckon that's probably third. I'll put this Mark dude at top, but I'll say second, probably Ben Barber against the Knights. They kick it and it goes to bounce dead, and he like does a front flip, lands on his neck.
That's right. I remember
But
that actually.
that I think the hop step just put the skill in it.
The hop step for me was just the IQ in the moment. Like, it's not like he was by himself and he's trying to keep himself in. He was literally like getting, or just had broken the tackle. Like, it was crazy to me.
Then when you get other people that don't even watch the sport wanting to talk about it, that's when you go, holy smokes. Because a lot of people don't know this, but that lad was a wallaby.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally.
So he's not just
No
no,
slouch.
no random truck driver. No, he's a proper wallaby. He's represented the country in a different sport. And if he keeps doing like that stuff like that, he'll be representing
He'll be Origin. He'll be back in the
kangaroos.
country. He'll be everything.
All right, the Warriors and the
Warriors escape.
Dolphins.
We could probably gloss
Warriors
over this, but yeah, the Warriors definitely escaped with this one. I mean, the Dolphins. I don't
they
know.
had a late comeback in the last 10 minutes, scoring
It
two
was. It
tries.
was. Yeah, they just made him nervous, didn't they? But I mean, the
Good.
Warriors are good
Like
enough
I
just to
say,
get it
it's
done.
always good when the Warriors are up, but the Dolphins, they just need to do it a bit more earlier than letting
Do you know
that.
who the Warriors remind me of?
Who's that?
The Minnesota Vikings. I don't know if you're an NFL man, but 2 years ago, Minnesota finished something like 14-2, and they had some unbelievable stat about winning all these games between 1 and 7. They never smashed a team. The Warriors are the same. They're 8-2, and they literally have a point differential of 5.
Yeah,
So
they
for
are.
6 wins, better off for 5 points. So how is that even possible?
They're literally stealing it, but it
Yeah,
almost makes it once it gets to crunch time in the finals or something, they're going to be like, we know how to win this.
yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like that Collingwood just knows how to win the close games, and it's just built
Yeah.
into their DNA.
So as much as we could look at that and say, yeah, that's not good, it's almost a massive positive.
Absolutely.
All right.
Seagulls on the rise. They bounce back after the loss to the Cronulla.
Yes, they've finally, what would you say? They just played good. Cowboys, I guess, just fell asleep. Really, they scored that one try, and Ruben Garrett played really well. Jason Saab played well. Ben Trbojevic, I reckon, played well. I guess the only low light out of this was Jake Trbojevic getting knocked out cold.
Yeah, so he'll have to miss a week or two with just concussion protocol, obviously.
Yeah.
And he was actually playing a pretty good game up until then.
Well,
Um,
he hasn't been playing the best, but his reputation was almost going to put him in the Origin. But
mm, I
no,
think I think what was the deciding of this game, like if you look at all the stats, and Cowboys had a better completion rate and they ran more sets and it was close in the meters. It was just the tackle breaks. Like,
the,
Cowboys could not hold a tackle. It looked like my Bombers on Saturday night. We Bombers missed something like 50% of their tackles, but for an NRL side to get 37 tackle breaks, I thought is literally the sole reason why they lost. They just could
yeah,
not hold a tackle.
100%. Well, they got the bye this week, the Cows, and Manly got the Eels. So we'll see how they bounce back.
Cowboys look
Here's
like
a,
they need the rest.
yeah, definitely. You might get excited about this one. Your Sharkies beat the Storm by 5 points.
They've been a bit of a bogey team for us. We always seem to get close, but they just beat us. And I mean, a tale of two halves, but we were able to hold on luckily. And it was a pretty good crowd at Shark Park. this was on at the same time as my Bombers, so I was trying to watch both at the same time. But when it got to the 60th minute mark, and we were up, I thought I'd better just watch the last 20 minutes, and I got a little bit nervous when Coates scored that try. But out took the fucking hanger to try and bring them back into it. But man, that in saying that I was nervous, the last 10 minutes, we just perceived pressure. Like Coates, as good as he was, Pappenhausen flicked that pass out wide and he just dropped the footy. We forced a strip as well, guy trying to force the issue, and our tackling just stripped the footy. Defensively, we were just up for the fight, and I thought we were fucking awesome in that last 15 minutes to hold on.
Your Sharks this year are actually reminding me of the Indiana Pacers. They're just that dark horse side. No one's going to really expect it, but you forget they were in the prelim last year. But I wouldn't be surprised if they finish in the top four still, because they beat the Storm, which is not an easy thing to do, and they're only sitting on top of them at fourth. And a lot of commentators...
The only thing that's got the Storm in front is because they've had their bye.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that still believe Sharks are a threat, and they've got the players for it too. So
we've got the players and we've got the game plan, and I just feel like in the middle of the ground is where we just need to, like, I mean, sometimes you see it in our chats, like sometimes they bag Nico Hines and like...
He only gets bagged because he's one of the best, that's all.
He's just got a higher standard, I feel.
They're going to critique him on everything, but I reckon when you put Nico Hines in like an Origin level, he looks awful, but you put him back with his own environment, his own team, he looks untouchable.
He just looks like a chemistry man, doesn't he? He can never seem to play well in Origin because he's just not built the chemistry and connection.
Yeah,
and then he looks fucking awesome.
And good halves, and they've obviously got a structure that he obviously is not used to.
Yeah.
And he plays a completely different game to that level of footy, so I don't think he'll be going representative anytime soon, but nothing wrong with that. What they've got, the Roosters this week.
I mean, we should win, shouldn't we? Like, if we fucking mean business, we should go to 8-4, and we should be fighting for that top 4 spot. 100%. So, these are the games that we used to probably shy away from, but we now, if we want to be a good side, we just need to fucking... We're away though, aren't we? And we have been 3-3 away, so hopefully we can sort of put our fucking flag down.
I think every single team is licking their lips because Penrith isn't there. I felt like they were just a brick wall. It was like you're playing Penrith, use it in for a fight. So I think every team would be like, shit, this is our actual chance to actually start winning again.
Yep. Spot on.
Because that's the thing, Panthers have the Knights this week. Panthers are now up to 13.
And they had the bye, so they're going to be fresh.
Come off the bye. It would not surprise me if the Panthers make the 8. I think if Panthers make the 8, you should be absolutely shitting yourself.
Literally, because they just know how to get it done. And that's just going to hang over all of their heads, isn't it? Like, no matter what team they play.
You're playing the Panthers. They played the past 5 grand finals, won the past 4. You'd be shitting bricks. Talking about shitting bricks, the Brisbane Broncos.
You took the words right out of my mouth. What the fuck are they doing at the moment?
They are the most frustrating team in the NRL.
1-4 in their last 5.
1-4, and their last win was against my Bulldogs. I'm pretty sure. So they beat the top team, and they're yet to win again. And like I said last week, my team lost players too, and they just proved everyone wrong. But apart from that, Jesse Arthurs, he's been called up for the Origin. He's the 18th or 19th man, so he probably won't play, but he's got the call. And we did talk about him earlier this year about would he get the pick, but he's in the squad.
He's made it.
He's made the squad.
So you have to be good enough just to make the squad, and yeah, the way those fucking Origin games played, don't be surprised if a concussion protocol or a little sprain gets him in.
Last year was the first time an 18th man ever stepped on the field because there was back-to-back knockouts.
Yeah, so fucking wouldn't be surprised if that brings it up again, but
the Dragons, fuck, they're playing some good footy.
Mm.
Clint Gutherson, he's been playing really well since he's left the Eels.
I like
Uh,
Clint. I think he's great.
was it Tyrell Sloan? He's playing good footy, really nice. Valentine Holmes looks more comfortable now. Bulldog. The only thing I can take from the Broncos is I know this dude cops a lot of slack because what he did, but Ezra Mann played all right. He scored a
Mm.
try and had 2 tries. He looked like he was meant to be back. Hopefully, he can. All that bad stuff can go behind him and he can focus on his footy. But he actually played really well. He wasn't the problem. Payne Haas had a hamstring injury
Scare.
scare.
Yeah,
He's been
it was
cleared.
late.
Even Pat Carrigan clashed heads and they thought he broke his jaw, but also was all clear. So those two will both be playing Origin. Um, the Broncos even had a problem with Marty Tapau. Apparently ran his mouth about the coach, and he lost his job. He's only played 1 game this year, I think. He's old. He's only 35. I wouldn't say that to his face though. He's a fucking scary man.
He'll fucking beat
But
the shit out of you.
but it's just yeah, it's a bit of a shit show. All the people up here were like, "Ooh, Broncos in round 1," and now they've actually hit the mid. Oh,
They've hit the
yeah, mid.
grind. It's like what we were talking about with Brisbane, like the
Yeah,
other Brisbane side. They've hit the
it could be a
grind and they're not up for it at the moment.
could be a Brisbane thing. There's heaps of people complaining about how Madge, their coach, works them too hard and all this and that. Look, he's been known to be an aggressive, rough, tough type of coach,
Yep.
but I think Brisbane have needed that because they've been dog shit for the past. Oh, I shouldn't say the past few years. They made the grand final and lost by a friggin' try, but
Mm.
after that, it seemed like they're
They did
just
fall away.
a bit slack, and I think they need this coach because he's not a shit coach. He's won almost every trophy you can think of in rugby league as a coach.
Yep. And I mean, we used to see it a lot, sort of late 90s, mid 2000s, 2010s. Teams would get to the middle part and even put in extra conditioning. You can
Well,
just be
it's the best thing
you
to
can just
do.
be so sore at the start of the season that like you just go through the motions at training and then all of a sudden you lose some fitness. So if the
Yeah,
Broncos are just even, I mean, they look tired, don't they? So if they can sort of, if they're putting in extra conditioning, then maybe that's why they look tired. And I don't know, maybe they'll flick the switch and they'll start playing well again out of nowhere because they're fit and they're easing off on their training and they're fresh, ready for those games.
yeah. Well, they've got the bye this week, so they're probably happy
Mm.
because they'd
Big
probably be
conditioning set
nervous.
and freshen up, and they'll be right.
Yeah, because obviously it's Origin next Wednesday, so they're
Mm.
probably stoked that they don't have to play. But the
Absolutely.
next game, Raiders slapped the Titans, which not
Did what
saying
they
the
had to do,
Bombers.
didn't they?
Yeah, after giving 20 points to the Bulldogs, they stepped up and they just played strong.
And
Thing
this
is, I
game,
don't know.
this should have been higher too. Like, I mean, they were 4 for 8 from conversions. It should have probably been 50-24 or 48-24, I should say. And that's what you can tell with the Titans. Like, I think the problem with them is they're probably a bit young, a bit small. A
I
big
reckon
telling
they're a
point
lot
is
smaller.
like if you go through the past 3, 4, 5 weeks, post contact meters are always 200, 250, 150 meters behind their opponent.
Yeah,
They just can't get field position. And so, I mean, if you're going to be constantly in your defending in your back half, I mean, no wonder why they leak scores. But once they sort of play together often and get some games into these young boys and they build up their side, they'll be not bad. Gold Coast, they just
yeah,
need to sort of stay the course.
absolutely. Well, Gold Coast got the bye this week, and to end the round to be Raiders and the Warriors
Mm,
4:05. So that'll be a great game to watch.
that should be good.
And
Finish
the
off the
last
round in the
game.
pod.
I actually watched this game. It was actually a really good game. So the Rabbitohs started the game 12-0, and then it was getting to like, oh shit, there's 1 minute to go, and then Appy Coruscant just put on the burners, done a goosey on friggin' Latrell Mitchell, and made it 6-12. I think it was pissing down rain, and then it was just a back and forward, back and forward. Coruscant done it again, scored another one. So it was
They
close.
sort of took it. I only watched the highlights, but it seemed like they played down that side of the field consistently.
Yeah.
I think
And then
they
the other
exposed a
again.
weakness.
Then Lockie Galvin scored, and then I think it was Campbell Graham. He actually saved the day and punched it out. So it would have been 18 all, and they were able to get down to the other side of the field. Dry Arrow was able to score, and they secured the 10-point win. But it was actually a really impressive game to watch. Even Luai played well.
It's one of those. It's like rugby's not a game like we always talk about in AFL, like the 12-point turnaround, or NBA, like the 5-point swing or 6-point swing. Barely do you ever see it in rugby, but it was a legitimate 8-10-point swing. Like Tigers were going to tie that game up, and then it gets swatted away, and they go down and score instantly. It was just I mean, obviously, no scores happened after it happened in the 78th minute, but it was just so deflating. I could imagine.
I reckon if it wasn't raining, the Tigers would have won this game.
Yeah,
They had so much of the ball in it, but now the Rabbitohs are still in it, 7th place. Well, the Tigers have. Where the Tigers dropped to? Dropped to 12th after that game.
dropped to 12th. So obviously now the NRL starts their bye round, so a heap have to bye.
Yeah,
There's only really one game that sticks out to me, I feel, this round, and I feel like it's going to be an epic. And like you said, the 3:35, 4:05 for you, the Warriors Raiders, that'll be an epic.
Yeah, I reckon it'll be that one, and then I reckon Panthers Knights, because you got a team in the Panthers that are trying to make that 8 after starting awful, and then you got the Knights that are just, they're not even there. But the problem with the Knights is their marquee player Galen Pongers will be playing for Queensland Wednesday night. So, well, I don't know if he'll back it up, but yeah, your game of the week would be Warriors and Raiders.
I don't know how the rugby players do it sometimes with their sort of 3-4 day turnarounds. The Origin players, I find it nuts.
Yeah, but,
Really, your body's sore.
and that's the last thing. Origins Wednesday, but I won't talk too much on this. But yeah, you got your sides, but each team's got little tweaks. It's just going to be one of those Origins where you just got to sit and watch and let it play out.
You don't really have any prediction as a
know.
Queenslander.
Yeah, as a Queenslander, obviously I want my team to win. I don't feel confident looking at it on paper. I talked to one of my mates who's a big Blue supporter that gives me shit. I just joked around with him saying, "Your boy's got it this year," and he said, "Mate, I'm not looking at looking at it like that." He's probably looking at the same thing, which probably makes it good. Then you got two teams that don't look too good on paper.
Yeah, it's probably not the biggest in-depth Origin this year, but I don't know. You always just there's something about like I don't know. You're just going to expect a massive bang, and there's going to be some surprise, and it's just going to be fucking all over the place this year. Yeah, there's no clear favourite anywhere.
That's the thing. It's Origin. Those players are going to be revved up for it, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for guys that probably don't usually get picked either, so that'll be interesting as well to see how they come out and make an impact.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all in all, hopefully Essendon get back on the winners list.
Essendon get a win.
Brisbane should.
Knicks win
Hopefully.
tomorrow.
Knicks win tomorrow. OKC, we got the job done game one, so hopefully as our personal supporters, we're very happy this time next week.
We need to get one of your Essendon boys a celebrity.
I know, imagine that. We've got Zach Merritt on. That would be awesome. All right, boss. We've got to do this muck around pod soon. We've got some good topics.
Will definitely be this weekend. We both got Sunday off.
Yep. Let's try and get it done.
We'll get it sorted.
All right. We'll speak soon.
Alright, catch ya.
Peace.